Hello everybody and welcome to another video by Fisher of Men 75. I read a report from a local independent pressman here in Idaho. His name is Will. Described a incident where the rancher himself was arrested for not having complied with the local sheriff and his request to turn over some stray cattle. At that point, the sheriff then returned to the farm with the intent of gathering up the cattle, and was met by the rancher's sons, who were on their own property, simply with rifles in hand. And at that point, the sheriff then decided to escalate the situation to involve a SWAT team, 3 different sheriff and to call in a Predator B drone, an unarmed Predator drone on loan from the Border Patrol agencies and Homeland Security. So I wanted to follow up to that video because a question may arise, of course, was this rancher stealing cattle? The man owns 3,000 acres of land. 3 cows and their calves wandered onto the land, and at that point he was of the mind that they were unowned, that these were in fact completely stray animals. There was a dispute that arose around the local open range law when the sheriff was talking with him. North Dakota has an open range law, and so this rancher believed that he was perfectly in the right to hang on to these cows, certainly until it was determined if there even was an owner. But at that point, the sheriff decided apparently that his godhood had been violated, and he then made the call to the federal government. I want to be very clear that when he did that, he violated his oath to protect and serve his constituents based on the standard of the Constitution, the law of the land. And he then stepped outside of his boundaries to call in the federal government to send their weaponry, in this case an unarmed Predator B drone, so-called unarmed Predator B drone, from 2 miles up, surveilling the property. And what that is a violation of something called posse comitatus. I said that in the last video. I want to say it again. When the federal government is brought to bear on U.S. citizens, that is a violation of the basic liberties which our country has been established on. Now, the officers came to the ranch when the conversation with this man began. They tased him. They threw him in the dirt and basically hauled him off. His daughter was prone to cry out in defense and question these men as to if the legality of what they were doing. And of course, at that point, she violated their godhood, and they deemed her unworthy and arrested her as well. They questioned his wife about any weapons on the property, and she misled them. Apparently, allegedly, she misled them, and so they deemed her unworthy of their godhood and arrested her as well. So the point here is we are seeing a police state in action, and we must not be so quick to write these things off, and we certainly cannot be so arrogant as to just assume that we know that this must have been called for. We are getting conditioned to think that we must bow to these self-appointed demigods who believe that to even question them is a violation of the law, let alone stand up against their tyranny. And it is tyranny. This is a tyrannical regime of the utmost. Folks, our government is broken. It is broken. Our government system is broken. And I'm not talking about just a squeaky wheel on the wagon. I'm talking about the wagon, the wheels are off the wagon is upside down in the swamp, and everybody is just standing around saying, I don't care. Our government system is broken, and there are some inherent laws of the land and true liberty that we can speak from. These are foundational issues we can stand on, and I just want to give you courage to do that and exhort you to at least expose the works of darkness. And this is a work of darkness. This man, I'll put him up here. His name is Rodney Brossart. He has a family farm, okay, 3,000 acres. Right now they have been prevented from even going on and harvesting. They were not able to bring in this year's harvest because of this ridiculous show of bravado and Stasi Germany force and communist Bolshevik juggernaut monstrous thought. And so what we need to do is talk about these things and realize that this isn't just an everyday activity that we can sweep under the rug and forget about. This is real. This is oppression. This is happening. Now, is it in God's plan? Of course. Is God in control? Yes, He is. But we as American citizens do still have some freedoms left to be able to talk about these things. I, for one, get very angry when I hear that citizens are being treated in this way. It's going to happen more and more and more. This is a Predator B drone that has been used on American citizens. Now, the sheriff has been on TV saying that this is how this is the way that these kinds of things must be handled, and that he is working together with some people to better determine how to deal with this terrorist organization. Those people who he's talking about is the Department of Homeland Security, a beast if there ever was one. And when they call these simple living ranchers terrorists, they are doing something, and it's called indoctrination. They're indoctrinating a nation to believe that if you love freedom, if you love the foundations that the Constitution draws from, if you talk about your Second Amendment, if you talk about living off the land, if you talk about how wonderful it is to be able to own your guns and enjoy the freedoms that come from the fact that you have your guns, because Thomas Jefferson said the only reason we still have our freedoms is because we still have our guns. The amendment which speaks to the right to bear arms is not about hunting for your food and not about target shooting. It is about having weaponry which you will use to stand against a tyrannical government. That is the right to keep and bear arms. And so when we see a media institution and a federal government which is trying to demonize people who feel strongly about these things, that is what we would call, quite simply, a red flag that says, hey, something's going on here that's not right. What's happening is the Bible says it's calling evil good and good evil. This family of ranchers are good people. They were abiding by the laws of the land, and the sheriff came in and said, you must bow to me, and if you will not do it, I will bring every power at my disposal to bear upon you. Now, what this is just a conditioning for the nation, a conditioning for people to just think that, well, this is how things are to be done. This is how law is executed. This person must have done something terrible. The government's involved. Well, the fact is, you are being taught that the nanny state is all you have. and you are to rat on your neighbor with the see something, say something, and Janet Napolitano up in the Walmarts, and the MIAC report out of Missouri, the Missouri Information Act, where they're literally gathering information on men and women who love liberty, who are pro-lifers, who are avid about their faith in God, who talk about the Constitution. Listen to me, this MIAC report that has been given to police to help them find quote-unquote criminals, in it says the people they're looking for are those that would have a Ron Paul bumper sticker, okay? Those that would have a Chuck Baldwin bumper sticker, those that would have a constitutionalist bumper sticker, those that would have a libertarian bumper sticker, those that would have a Liberty Party bumper sticker. They're telling them to pull people over because of a bumper sticker. And folks, that's happening. I can show you countless stories. If you don't believe me, you can easily find the MIAC report. See that this list is instructing police to be on the lookout for pro-lifers, people who have faith in God, people who love the Constitution, people who love their right to bear arms, people who love freedom, people who love liberty. This is what police are being taught. The federal indoctrination organizations, which are seeking to turn us really against each other as we argue over meaningless issues that they will soon come in and just wipe us out. Call your local law enforcement. Find out what the Homeland Security has said. One of their reports that they sent to most, if not all, police departments is a 9-page document, and it is called the Right-Wing Extremism, Current Economic and Political Climate Fueling Resurgence on Radicalization and Recruitment. Okay? It says the federal government will be, quote, working together with its state and local partners over the next several months to gather information on right-wing extremist activity in the United States. Okay? I encourage you just to make a phone call and find out about that report. It is absolutely devastating to see what they're saying there. And in it they talk about returning veterans, men who have been in war, being a threat to our nation. So I guess just include your grandpa, your dad, and your brother, and whoever else you know that has served overseas. This is a blanket statement that they make about returning veterans, about people who love their right to keep and bear arms, about people who love the Constitution, about people who speak out against the murder of unborn children in the womb, about men and women who speak out about their faith in God, about men and women who basically speak out about absolutes and truth that is overarching over everyone. Because you see, these people in control believe that they are gods. I was being sarcastic earlier to make a point, but the powers that do exist behind the scenes believe they are gods, much like Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel, when he had a dream, and the dream involved a tree, a massive tree that got cut down, and a big metal band was put around it, and he called in Daniel to help interpret that dream, and Daniel told him, the tree is you, and you will lose your kingdom, basically. And so he dismissed Daniel and went out the next day on his balcony and was surveying all he had and was glorying in himself. And immediately God cut him down. He went out, lived like an animal in the field. His nails grew, his hair grew, he ate grass like a beast. And then God gave him his sanity back, and he looked up and he said, God is to be praised. You are God. You are King of Kings. And the fact is, God gave him his sanity back and gave him faith. But there will be many people who will never bow their knee to Jesus Christ this side of eternity, but they will bow their knee one day. And we take great confidence in the fact that Christ is sovereign over all these things. But again, Ephesians 5:11, expose the works of darkness. And so we are to be concerned about tyranny. We are to be concerned about evil and the fact that men who are committed to upholding the law, who have taken oaths to be responsible to the truth, are being evil, and they are breaking the law. And at the same time, they are saying that they themselves are the law, so that if a sheriff and his deputies come onto your property and tell you to do something, well, man, you better do it. You better do it. Well, the reality of it is we have opportunities to preach the gospel in those instances, yes. And for those men and women who do not know Christ and are peacefully attempting to resolve the issue based on their God-given, inalienable, or unalienable rights, and we see them being trampled underfoot by basically a Stasi regime, we need to say something. Again, all it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing. Mark my words, this use of the Predator B drone to assist in the rest of U.S. citizens it's pivotal. And we need to really take a good hard look at this. I made this video. I'm hoping that you guys got something out of it. There is so many things that we can talk about. I'm going to try to make some more. Hopefully, if you guys like this video, push like and let me know. I'll make some more of these. Freedom is crying aloud from the streets, and none of us are going to be without excuse. Until next time, this is Fisher of Men, and I pray God's grace and more of His free grace on you. Thanks for watching.